A day after Chief Medical Officer of Health Dr. Moore strongly recommended all Ontarian adults wear a mask, only a handful of government MPPs had one on here at Queen's Park. Most didn't, including the Premier, even though he said repeatedly he would listen to Dr. Moore's advice.
Why is the Premier not taking leadership and wearing a mask to protect our children?
The Premier didn't answer. He punted the question to his House Leader. Ford didn't have a mask on today. Neither did most of his government caucus members. By my count, just 8 of 57 government MPPs present followed Dr. Moore's recommendation and had a mask on.
Why is most of your caucus not following the medical officer's advice?
Well, I think you have to take into consideration the size of the building, the size of the room.
Dr. Moore didn't talk about the size of the room yesterday, respectfully, Minister. He said all adults should strongly, he recommends, wear a mask. You don't think your government should have sent a message and worn a mask?
I think that what we are seeing is people who are making determinations based on their personal circumstances.
This Minister of Health and this government seem to live in an alternate reality. She says that the Chief Medical Officer of Health said wear a mask indoors according to personal risk assessment. That's not what he said yesterday. If we can't agree on even basic facts, how can we expect this government to do the right thing?
Inside the legislature, the health minister attempted to explain the lack of government masking by claiming that Ontario has the second highest vaccination uptake in the world.
Only Japan was able to get a higher vaccination rate and therefore protection rate for their communities. Second in the world. We have nothing to apologize, and certainly no lessons need to be shared by you.
But that's not true.
Ontario is not even second in the country. We're not in the top 20 in the world. So where is she getting that information from?
The health minister's office later clarified to CityNews that Sylvia Jones was referring to the G10, not the world. The fact is, 31.5% of Ontarians have not had a COVID booster dose at all. Is it time for a broader public information campaign to get more shots in arms? The health minister appeared to say no.
Those conversations, often because they are medical in nature, should be happening with your medical practitioner, whether that's your pharmacist, your primary care practitioner, your nurse practitioner. Every individual has a different situation that they are dealing with.
The Liberals are calling for a public information campaign and are calling for mandatory masking in schools and public transit. The interim leader says the Premier should lead by example.
He's telling people to wear a mask whenever you can. And there he is, sitting there for 45 minutes, right next to a bunch of people, and he hasn't got a mask on. So what do you think? What do you think people are going to say? Well, look, he's telling me to do something he can't even do himself.
Now, all of the opposition MPPs I could see did have their mask on in the legislature, although NDP leader Peter Tabuns, who you saw at the beginning of that report, took his off to speak. I asked him about that, and he said it's because he sounds muffled if he leaves it on. Masking, like most everything else, a contentious issue once again here at Queen's Park.